Hi ladies and gentlemen, now we're going to talk about synthetic division and substitution. This is a different way to divide polynomials than long division, so let's get started. I'm going to start you out with some steps on how to do it, so this might get a little bit confusing, but once you see how we put this in, it'll start to click and make sense. So the first thing we need to do is make sure our polynomial is in standard form, and don't forget your placeholders. Do not forget your placeholders. If you do, you will not be able to get this answer correct at all. It will be so messed up. Second thing we need to do is set our divisor equal to 0 and we'll solve. Whatever we get for x, whatever x equals, we will put that number in a box, and you'll see how this gets set up in a minute. After we have that number in a box, we are going to set up the coefficient line from our original polynomial that we're trying to divide. The fourth step is that we are going to drop the first term below the line, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Then, once a number is dropped below the line, it gets multiplied by whatever number was in the box. That product, so the term below the line and once it's multiplied by the number in the box, that product, so the answer you get, is put in the next column above the line. Then we add down the column and repeat steps 5 and 7 until the end. Eighth, we put the last number in a box once we get to the end, and then to write our answer, we find the degree of the original polynomial and subtract the degree of the divisor, and I believe all of the divisors we give you have a degree of 1. So this degree, once you've subtracted 1, is the degree of the answer, and all the numbers below the line are the coefficients. If you still need some time to write down those notes, which I'm sure you do, you'll want to pause now and write those down because they are probably going to go off the screen. So here we go. First example, I am going to divide x to the fourth minus 2x to the third plus 3x plus 1 by x minus 3. So the first thing I need to do is rewrite this in standard form. It's got x to the fourth, my next one would be negative 2x to the third, and after that would come x squared. But I don't have an x squared term, so again, not forgetting my placeholders, I need to put in a 0. So this is now in standard form, right? With a 0 as a placeholder, that should be a squared. The next thing I need to do is set my divisor equal to 0. So x minus 3, where does that equal 0 at? Well, if I add 3 to both sides, I get x equals 3. So to set up my synthetic substitution or division, I'm going to put that number in a box. I'm not going to write anything here yet. I'm going to skip this line and draw a really long equal sign. What is the coefficient of x to the fourth? It's 1, right? What's the coefficient of x to the third? Negative 2. What's the coefficient of x squared? 0. The coefficient of x is 3. And the constant or coefficient of x to the 0 is 1, right? So here are these numbers. You see those numbers? We are going to copy them onto this line. This is called the coefficient line. So remember, this 3 came from setting the divisor equal to 0 and solve. Sometimes you may have a fraction when you do this, that's okay. These numbers came from the coefficient of the polynomial I'm trying to divide. So the polynomial I'm trying to divide gave me its coefficients here. What I'm dividing by, set equal to 0, is what came in this box. So now I'm going to follow the next steps. We are to step 3 if you're looking at your list. The first number is going to just drop down below the line. And then very small, very, very small, I'm going to write 1 times 3, so I don't forget what I'm doing. After a number is below the line, it gets multiplied by whatever number is in the box. So 1 is below my line, I multiply it by 3. 1 times 3 is 3. So in my next column, I'm going to put the product or the answer to that multiplication, so 3. 1 times 3 is what gave me 3. Drop the first number below, multiply by the number in the box, move it to the next column. Then we're going to add down this column. So negative 2 plus 3 gives me 1 again. Remember, after a number is below the line, it gets multiplied by the number in the box. So 1 times 3 again is 3. So I'm going to put another 3 up here. This time when I add, I have 0 plus 3, which gives me 3. Then again, this number is below, so I multiply it by the number in the box. 3 times 3, that gives me 9. So I put 9 in my next column. Add down, 3 plus 9 is 12. Any number that is below the line gets multiplied by the number in the box. 12 times 3 is 36. So I put a 36 on my next line, add down, 37. That was the end, so we are at step 8, which says put the last number in a box. This is our remainder. So it's going to have something special. Then remember our 9th step said in order to write the answer, we need to find the degree of the original polynomial, which is 4, and subtract the degree of the divisor, which is 1. So 4 minus 1 gives us a new degree of 3. So this first term is going to be my x to the 3rd term. This will be my x squared term. This will be my x, and this will be my x to the 0, which just makes it a number. So let's put those together. We have 1 x to the 3rd plus, put a plus in between each term, 1 x squared plus 3x plus 12. That's the beginning of my polynomial, and I can't forget my remainder. And just like on long division, you put your remainder over your divisor because it's the only thing that hasn't been divided by. And that can't be divided, so we just leave it as a fraction. A lot different from long division, correct? So I hope you're getting it. We'll do another one. So the next thing we need to look at is the factor theorem. The factor theorem says that if I have a polynomial and I divide it by x minus a, it's a factor only if my remainder is 0. So if I get 0 in that last number in the box, it is a factor. And factor is the same thing as x-intercept or root, so this is showing you a place where your graph would be crossing the x-axis. On your graph, it would cross the x-axis at whatever this is set equal to 0. So the next thing I'm going to do is divide my polynomial p of x. Oh, no, I don't want that, sorry. My polynomial is 2x to the 4th plus 8x to the 3rd plus 2x plus 8, and I'm going to divide that by x plus 4. So I hope you remember what we do first. We write this in standard form. So in standard form, my highest degree is 2x to the 4th, then I have 8x to the 3rd, then I have x squared, which is missing, so I put in a 0, 2x plus 8. The next thing I'm going to do is set this x plus 4 equal to 0. Subtract 4 from both sides, so this time we have a negative number in our box. So in my box, I get negative 4. I need to find my coefficients, 2, 8, 0, 2, 8. None of these are negative, they're all positive, but if they were negative, you would have to remember to bring down your negative signs, just like we did in the previous example. So all of those are positive. The first number, remember, drops down underneath the line, then it gets multiplied by the number in the box, so 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. When I add down this line, I get 0. 0 times negative 4 is still 0. When I add down this line, I get 0 again. 0 times negative 4 again is 0. When I add down this line, I get 2. 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. When I add down this line, I get 0. So we can write x minus 4 is a factor. How did we know it was a factor? Well, we knew it was a factor because this gave us 0. If this has any other number besides 0, it's not a factor. But since it has 0, it is a factor. So we write that this is a factor. X minus 4, what we were dividing by, is a factor. Now we're going to write out our answer. So it was x to the 4th. Again, we subtract 1, So our new degree is x to the third. So this will be my x to the third term, x squared, x, and just a number. So 2x to the third, 0x squareds and 0 x's, so I don't need to write that, plus 2. This would be my new polynomial. Now on your assignment, it asks you to write the polynomial as a product of the answer and the divisor. So we're going to put this around parentheses, put this in parentheses, and we're going to multiply by what I divided by. If you would FOIL this out, you would get this polynomial here. So this is just a different way to write this polynomial. This is a little bit easier. You could see a little bit more what's going on, and you know your graph would cross the x-axis here because it was a factor. I hope that this one has been a little bit less of a challenge than long division. If you have any questions, please review this video, and good luck with your synthetic substitution and division.